What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the 5280 podcast on the MHRT Network. I'm your host, as always, Mundungus Greavy, alongside my co-host, Gage Madrid. Cameron Parker's not here because he decided that other things are more important than the Broncos. But we finally got Glenn Hauser back. The baby.
Boo! Not you, Glenn. I'm doing Cam.
Gage was supervised today.
Yes, seriously. Finally have some adult supervision around here. It's been so long. This show's run wild. We threw multiple parties, trashed the house, liquor bottles all over the front yard. Show's run wild.
I would always make sure to listen to the first 5 minutes to see what you guys said about me.
It was some bad stuff. It's fine. Before we get into anything, make sure you head on over to the MHRT Network on YouTube if you have not already. Hit the like, subscribe, and thumbs up button. We got lots of different shows, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the neighborhood on game days. Also, make sure you head over to Broncos Syndicate, or should I say Chargers Syndicate, since he was streaming the Chargers game live.
I was streaming that Chargers game because it had implications for the Broncos playoffs.
Sure, make whatever excuse you'd like.
And we were going for the Steelers. We were hate watching the Chargers. I'm not Bill. I am not a closeted Chargers fan.
Okay. But yeah, make sure you head on over to Broncos Syndicate, hosted by Gage Madrid, and give a like, a thumbs up, and a subscribe on that channel as well. He's got all your Broncos content you're going to want to check out. And Glenn Hauser's got nothing. So
he's got a Twitter account that he occasionally posts on.
Occasionally.
So before we get into it, how you guys doing?
Good, man. Ready to discuss some Broncos versus Chiefs. We discussed whether or not we were going to actually talk about the Raiders game in the green room today. And I think we decided we're going to very briefly touch on it. It feels like... Well, I know, but at least mostly Broncos country has flushed it, except for the whiny little bitches out there that haven't. And yes, I said that out loud.
Sorry, I'm responding to Ty. Cam isn't as big of a Broncos fan as...
How are you doing, Glenn?
I'm doing good.
There we go. Right.
Why does it sound like when Mike's typing it, it does?
No. He isn't as big of a Broncos fan as we are, so he isn't here.
It sounded like a typewriter.
Listen, this table I'm on is like not level. So anytime I touch it, it moves. Sorry.
Hey, man, I don't blame Cam. Anytime you have the opportunity to go out to dinner on your parents' dime, you take advantage of that, baby.
I get
You only get those opportunities once in a blue moon.
I swear to God, if he shows up in the chat, he's fired. It's not going to happen.
Shows up in the chat from the Cheesecake Factory.
Right?
No, Shanahan's or something. It's got to be something, one of those.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going to start off with all I have is one, like, off Broncos topic, and that's obviously the big news. Brian Daboll got fired from the New York Giants. I think it's stupid. Joe Shane should have gotten fired, but it's the Giants, and they're run like crap, so it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Shane was ultimately the dude who was responsible for putting two subpar rosters around two different young quarterbacks. So, come on, man. You can only give a guy like that so much of a leash, but clearly, he's a yes man. He's a puppet for that ownership group. Brian Daboll had to fall on the sword. I actually think they should have kept Brian Daboll and fired Shane. I would have liked to have seen Daboll with a new GM. It felt like they were attached at the hip, but then they decided to keep Shane. So I have no idea what the hell's going on over there in New York. It's just an absolute clown show. I feel bad for Jackson Dart.
Yeah,
and they actually cited the roster building is the reason they kept him, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that because you had Malik Neighbors go down, no depth at receiver outside of that. Darius Slayton's fine, but he's not an elite option at that position. Their offensive line has never been good ever since Joe Shane got there. All of their investments they've made in the offensive line practically have flopped. So I have no idea why they're keeping him. It does not make any sense.
Yeah. Cairo, I promise you we're going to get to that. I've got a whole list of just problems and solutions for this show. So we'll get there. Giants issue reminds me of the Jags GM and coach issue with Balky. Yeah.
I mean,
We were just talking about him.
Every time that freaking happens, man, you have a GM that's retained and a coach that gets fired. More often than not, the year afterwards, the GM is going to get fired. I know for a fact that's what's going to happen here with Joe Shane. And when it comes to this Giants roster, man, like I said, they're poorly constructed, but also I don't see how they're going to be able to recover from some of the injuries that they're dealing with right now. It's just a mess. It makes no sense why you would fire your head coach when I'd argue he's only maybe 20% of the problem.
Especially during the season, like a season that's over. Like let's keep things going. And if Jackson Dart's out this next game, I mean, they'd be silly to put Russell Wilson in there. Let's have the Jameis Winston Giants era get going. I mean, it's I would not want to be a Giants fan right now.
No, me either, or a Browns fan. All right. so not there.
There was a funny tweet. It was they were talking about how scientists, are working on letting people live to 150 years. And it's like, can you imagine being a Browns fan for 150 years?
Right. Mike, how many total viewers do we have right now?
Concurrent or total?
Concurrent.
78.
How many?
78.
That's pretty good, man. We've
so.
got 22 on the YouTube vertical, so I know that's contributing pretty well.
Oh, yeah, and if you guys didn't know, now we're streaming on the landscape mode and the vertical mode. So you can watch it however you want, whichever way you want. Just more options. Options! That's
Woo! Everybody loves options, baby. It's like a buffet. All you can eat.
The vertical mode,
you ate too much.
Vertical mode has Gage looking like Nicholson in The Shining when he breaks through the door. Like,
here's Johnny. All right, so on to some Broncos stuff. Wow, vertical mode, donkey balls. Thanks.
Thanks for the engagement.
I do want to know why you know what blowing donkey balls is. So, offensive tackle Jerron Christian, I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah, I believe so.
Signed off of the Cowboys practice squad. So now we have 4 tackles on the roster, and the Broncos then waived Michael Bandy, which honestly, thanks.
He's going to be back on the practice squad now that the trade deadline's over. Even vested veterans have to pass through waivers before they can be re-signed to the practice squad. So we will see Bandy back. As far as Christian is concerned, just some depth on the offensive line. We also had an injury. Corrine Reed, he went on IR with, I believe, a hamstring injury. And then they made one more move, right, Mike?
All I saw was that one.
Okay, then maybe I'm just mistaken. And then they've obviously got the Alex Singleton health situation, which we'll discuss a little bit more. That does leave their depth at linebacker pretty thin, so they're going to have to make a move at that position, I would imagine, here within the coming days.
Have you heard anything on Drew Sanders? Isn't it weird? The silence seems deafening on him.
He's still on IR. I don't think they haven't done anything with him yet.
I have to wonder if they didn't make a move at linebacker this week. Maybe this is the week that they open up Drew Sanders' window. It's very possible.
Isn't Corrine Reed hurt too?
Yeah, that's what I said.
He's on IR.
Oh, I was reading, so I can't.
Pay attention, Mike. You're
terrible. Mike's rickety table was so loud.
I was stuck on the donkey balls comment. I couldn't think of anything else.
Mike got distracted by donkey balls.
I really did. All right, so since you brought up Alex Singleton, we might as well talk about that one.
Speaking of balls,
plus the balls on this guy, right? Like last year, he tears his ACL at the beginning of the game, plays the entire game on a torn ACL. Then he finds out this season before the Raiders game that he's got a tumor. As my 10-year-old just walked in, he's got a tumor on his ball sack, so he's got testicular cancer. Then he plays against the Raiders. Then he has surgery to remove it.
The next day.
The next day.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, no, go ahead, Glenn.
I mean, it's just remarkable. And you mentioned last year's game, and that turned out to be the turning point for the team. Winning that game in Tampa Bay. I mean, the idea that it was so fluky that they caught this. that it came as a result of a random drug test after a game a couple weeks ago, and his levels were high, and his agent apparently asked, he's clean, so what else could cause this? And they mentioned cancer, and that's when they just discovered this. But the fact that he played, just knowing maybe some of the risks that could be involved prior to the surgery, what a captain. I mean, his teammates, I mean, we always talked about, even for his shortcomings and catching or guarding against the pass and things like that. We always talked about how his teammates really obviously admired this guy, and it's grown leaps and bounds, I would suspect, in the last couple of days. I give my best to Alex, and for a full and complete recovery. It sounds like he's planning on being back this year, but his health is the most important. He's got a wife. I think she's pregnant, or they just had a baby. So it's like, it's his life is what's most important. But you got to say thank you to him for just being the freaking man. That's for sure.
Right. And it's not even like the physical stuff with him, right? Like the potential for whatever might happen after finding that diagnosis out, but the mental aspect.
Yes.
Right. Like you find that out, and then you go out there and you got to play a game, right? Like there's so many things going through your head, and then you have to go play a game.
And his teammates didn't know about it, or at least all of them didn't know about it until yesterday, prior to us finding out.
Yeah.
That was interesting that they didn't know in advance. So, I've heard that there's some motivation to win for him this weekend too. I don't know what you were going to, Gage, sorry to step on you, but go ahead.
No, sorry. I was stepping on your toes. Yeah, man, I completely agree. And for me, whenever these real life situations spill into football, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I don't always know how to react. But thoughts out to Alex. I wish him nothing but the best throughout this situation. Obviously, it was kind of a remarkable circumstance that led to them catching this, with him taking that drug test and them showing that elevated level of that particular hormone. And yeah, man, it's just a really, really incredible thing that they were able to catch it. And it seems that this was one of the more nice versions, if you will, of this particular disease, where he's probably not going to have to go through any like treatment or anything like that. He'll be able to get back on the football field very soon. That's all secondary, of course. We want him to be fully recovered and able to resume all normal life activities, So that's priority number one here. And we can all sit and criticize Alex's level of play, but the fact is the dude is a badass. He is an absolute badass, playing with all of that weighing on his mind, knowing what he was going to have to go through the next day. And this is the same dude who played with that torn ACL down in Tampa, played the entire game virtually, had 10 tackles. Then this offseason, like during training camp, he fractured his thumb. And he was back out there after having surgery within a couple of days. So there's no doubt that Alex Singleton loves this game, and he will do anything possible to give everything that he has to his teammates. So, yeah, man, hats off to him, and I wish him nothing but the best throughout this entire process.
And
a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee as well. So this guy's solid all the way around.
And I have no idea, like, how long he's going to be out for and what the recommendation is. But if it's anything like a vasectomy, he's done for at least a month. I'm telling you right now, that son of a bitch hurts.
I imagine that's probably like one of the biggest things is having that incision down
That's
there.
what I can compare it to.
Yeah, but I imagine it's pretty similar, actually, like having that incision down there heal, it probably hurts like a motherfucker.
Just throwing that out there.
Thanks for the experience, Mike.
You're welcome.
No showing of the scar, please. Okay.
I mean, I can if you want to.
No, we don't need to do that.
We will be kicked off very fast.
Well, we know we won't have to go vertical for that.
I mean, that would be an interesting view in vertical, though, wouldn't it? All right, so let's go on to another injury, and that's J.K. Dobbins. Do we know how severe that is, and do we know if he's going to go on IR or not?
No and no. Chris Thomason reported today that he believes that they are contemplating putting him on IR. So we don't know the exact timeline. If it were serious enough that he's going to miss a super long period of time, I'd imagine he would have already gone on IR. Maybe that's the slight glimmer of hope here. But regardless, he's not playing in this game. He's probably not going to be playing in the next game. And he's probably not going to be playing in the game after that either. So, yeah, man, he's probably looking at least 3 weeks if they're contemplating the IR situation.
But he's another guy that finished the game after this injury occurred.
He did.
Do you know exactly what happened?
So he got hip drop tackled by Tyree Wilson, and his foot got trapped underneath. And what I'm worried about, it was compressed like this. It looked like Joe Burrow and Brock Purdy. They both had turf toes.
Yeah.
They're not going to specify what the injury is if they don't have to. Sean Payton, he wants to keep everything under wraps as possible for competitive reasons. So I don't know if we're going to hear anything further than foot injury. This could be a foot fracture, a Jones fracture, or it could be like a, what is it? A Liz Frank. Yes. Could be a Liz Frank. So all of those are very concerning injuries. Foot injuries are usually nothing to mess around with. So I imagine they're going to take every necessary precaution.
Yeah. All right.
So where does that leave us from the running back position this weekend?
I mean, not in an ideal spot. You've got RJ Harvey, who has shown some more flashes over these last few weeks, but there's still those vision issues with him. I'd say there are some durability concerns with him just because of his size. You've got Jaleel. He might be active for another game. He's only played in one game this year. I want to say it was the Jets game, right?
Yeah.
It was one of the road games. I know that. And he did not look very good in that game. So maybe we see more Jaleel. I know that Broncos country doesn't want to see any more of Tyler Bidet, but that's an option. You've got Deuce Vaughn on the practice squad.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely brings some burst and explosiveness, so maybe they want to try him over Jaleel. I don't know what practice squads on other teams are looking like in terms of the running back position, maybe somebody they could sign. I saw Benjamin Albright throw around the idea of calling up Latavius Murray and seeing if he's got six games left in the tank. That's very possible. So the Broncos do have some options, but as of right now, all of those options are probably in-house.
You mentioned Deuce Vaughn. Darren Sproles was on with Kay Adams the other day. I don't know if you saw this. And apparently he is going to be coming to the coaching staff to work with Sean. And she asked him what player he was most excited to work with. And he said Deuce Vaughn, actually. And she said, why is that? He goes, he reminds me of me. So
yeah.
That would be,
there we go.
That might be a really good pickup for us. Both of those, actually, Sproles and Deuce, especially if he can make some of those, make some impact on the young player.
Ty says, bring in Philip Lindsay.
Phil's doing radio, man. He's dunzo. Good to see you, D-Rock.
All right, so here comes the fun part. After that Raiders-Broncos game, people have been flying off the hook, losing their minds about Sean Payton, about Bo Nix, how Bo Nix should be benched. We need to draft a new guy. We need to fire Sean Payton and get a new coach, all kinds of stuff. So I spent the last couple days going through every single Broncos game this season.
Okay.
And started writing down, because I actually had time to do that, and started writing down all the things that I think are the problem and the reason why we're having such a problem with the offense in the first three quarters or every quarter in the Raiders game. So first things first, Sean Payton play calling. He abandons the running game too often. If the first 3 or 4 runs don't work, he goes away from it, starts throwing screens, starts throwing short slants, all kinds of things to avoid running the ball. And I think that's a problem. I also think that personnel changes is a problem. The amount of personnel changes that he makes, I think is part of the reason, if not the main reason, why Bo is not able to get into a rhythm, why running backs are not able to get into a rhythm, why we have so many drop balls. I think it's because they're changing every single play.
Okay, so I do believe that there are some issues in terms of the run game. But is it Sean Payton not being willing to commit to the ground game? Or is it defenses selling out to stop it and Sean not wanting to run into a look that he knows isn't going to work? It's a little bit of both, in my opinion. And then also, I think some of the sequencing, some of the downs that you're running the ball on, I'd rather see first down runs as opposed to some of these second down runs that we're seeing. So I do agree some of that critique is valid for sure. As far as the personnel rotations, man, I'm going to continue to maintain that it causes more problems for the defense that is defending our offense than it does our offense, because the defense doesn't know how to match up against it. They don't know if they're going to match up with base or if they're going to match up with sub, all of that. Many defensive coordinators have said it's a headache for defenses to contend with. Now, is Denver ready for that layer of their playbook? Some could argue no, but at the end of the day, Sean Payton is paying these guys, well, he's not paying them, but the Broncos are paying them millions of dollars in order for them to execute at a high level. They've got to be able to execute this shit, man. Otherwise, we need new personnel in there. So there are valid issues with Sean Payton's play calling, those trick plays that he designs seemingly at the most inopportune time, like that 3rd down and 1 play call. That's dumb. But I see people saying that the Broncos need to strip down this offense, and I agree with that, but it feels like they've kind of already done that. They're doing pretty simple stuff in terms of high-low reads, the screens, some of their ground game concepts. They've stripped it down about as far as they can. I wonder at this point, is there really anything left that they can do in terms of like changing the play calls? I really don't know.
So what? First of all, with the booing the other night, was that the play calling or were they booing the quarterback?
I think it was both.
Both, yeah. It really did feel like both.
Yeah.
I felt like they were also just booing the overall lack of execution. Obviously, we had some drops. Bo Nix did not look good whatsoever. He was abandoning clean pockets too early, missing easy reads. He was inaccurate on basic throws. I mean, that 3rd down play call, the Boo Birds came pretty heavy. And then special teams, they got a big, big course of boos. Obviously, you had that punting situation.
The McManus punt?
Yeah, that's the best way. That's way I can put it, is a punting situation. Like, it was awful. Jeremy Crawshaw, multiple shaked punts. One of them was completely off of his foot, the side of his foot. It was embarrassing. It really was. And that pissed off the fans in the stadium. So they were mad at everything, it felt like.
Okay. And that's when Cole was nailing him inside the 1, too. So
yeah, the one he shanked off the side of his foot was actually, if you watch when he drops it, the wind pushes it back and it bounces off his ankle.
Yeah, the wind was a problem down there. It really was. Up in the stands, it wasn't so bad, but down on the field, it was swirling. You could see the wind whipping on like the referee's pants and stuff like that. So I imagine it caused a lot of problems both in the receiving game as well as the kicking game.
But you know, it's funny because when the other punter is having such success, it's really hard to blame the wind for your shortcomings when they were pinning us deep on 2 different occasions inside the 1.
I mean, you had that one that took a hard right. Like,
that was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah. You know, it's funny because like after the Houston game, when Bo was like, did that long run, they got him in position for the game-winning field goal. This guy's a warrior swashbuckler, blah, 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 blah. And now all of a sudden he has like one bad game, and he did look bad. He was dancing, and you know, just his feet were not. I can't remember a play where his feet were still. But like now we're just giving up in the national media and Colin Cowherd. I mean, it's like, and then people are like, well, I mean, Chase Daniel, that's Sean Payton's guy, so he's feeding him information to say, and Cowherd's getting the same information from Sean from his Fox days, and so now they're trying to put Bo on notice, and it's like, what, like, pump the brakes, guys. We're 8-2, like we suffered up until last season. We've suffered for many years, and it's like the garbage song. I'm only happy when it rains. Just stop it. Like, just give it a rest.
And I do want to emphasize that, like, everything we're talking about here is not to get somebody fired. It's not to get somebody benched. It's just to talk it over, because obviously we all see the problem, and we need to stop overreacting for it and just go through it, talk it out, figure out what needs to happen, right? So first one was Sean Payton play calling, right? There's
like Cairo said it earlier, and he used the term too cute or something along those lines. And I do agree with that. I think he likes to live up to the offensive genius moniker that's been placed upon him, and rightly so, in my opinion. But he does get too cute. That 3rd and 1 double pass was one of the most irresponsible play calls I've seen in some time, because we really were not having great success moving the ball. We were finally getting in a position where we were inside the 40 on the other side, and we had a chance to keep the drive going by just giving it to a guy who was averaging over 5 yards a carry. And we chose to get ourselves out of field position. That's really tough. And the amount of drops this year, are we the most drop balls in the NFL? I mean, our penalties are we're the most undisciplined and a lot of drop balls. It really is kind of a miracle that we're at 8-2 at this point with those two statistics.
So we're actually the second most drops, behind only the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're dropping the ball left and right. Some of them I feel like are predicated on Bo Nix having bad ball placement, receivers having to adjust, them not always knowing where the ball is going to be. But the majority of them are like right on his chest, right on his hands, and they're just dropping them, man. So
like that was it the second interception he threw, where it bounced off of Troy Franklin's chest?
Well, here's the thing with that one. I have no clue who he was even throwing to on that play. Was he throwing it to Franklin, or was he throwing it to that slant to Bryant that was behind Franklin? I have no clue. If he was going to Bryant, which I think he might have been, that was a high pass. Franklin was the clear out route, it felt like. He just happened to be back there. The ball hit him. He had no clue it was coming to him and wasn't prepared to catch it. That's why it went off his hands. That one, I feel like, was just a sailed ball from Bo. But there were plenty of other drops, even not just this game, throughout the entirety of the season, that have not been on Bo. So that's been an issue. But Zach Seegers put this on Twitter the other day, and I agree with it. For every maybe 2 or 3 dropped balls that we're seeing, there's 5 or 6 missed throws from the quarterback. I hate to say it, but that's the biggest fly in the ointment right now with our offense. It's the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's actually where I was going to go next. Aside from Sean Payton's play calling, the personnel changes, we got to take a look at Bo, right? And again, Bo's the best quarterback we have on the roster. There's no debate on that one.
And he's the best quarterback we've had since Peyton Manning. No debate about that.
Not wanting to get him replaced, but we do have to have an honest conversation. His footwork is all over the place. He's missing wide open wide receivers. Like when he constantly bails early and doesn't get all the way through his progressions, and he's leaving open wide receivers. The balls are dying on him. They're going into the dirt, hitting him in the shins. He's overthrowing. It looks like he's lost his confidence. He looks like he's overwhelmed. Like it doesn't seem like him and shotgun is working very well. He bails early. When you look at the fourth quarter of Denver Broncos games, it's like when they go into that 4-minute offense and everything just kind of speeds up. The play call is simplified. The plays are simplified, and you just go. That's when he's the most confident. That's why I'm trying to figure out, is it because of how difficult Sean Payton is making it for the rest of the game? Or is this a Bo Nix problem? Are all of these things because he's lost his confidence? Is he overwhelmed by all this stuff? And these are the things that I'm seeing from Bo, and I think we all can see it.
At the end of the day, he's still a young quarterback, folks, and developing a young quarterback is going to have peaks and valleys. It's not linear progression. I say this every single time we have these discussions on Bo Nix. I feel like I said earlier, we've stripped this offense down about as far as we can. We've got it stripped back to the basics here. We've got to strip back to basic footwork with Bo. Day one, combining the footwork with the route concepts, it's all to do with his lower body mechanics. Like 90% of his inefficiencies are because he's not getting his feet set. Sean Payton's talked about another problem. His processor is going a little bit too fast. One downside to a quarterback who doesn't take a lot of sacks is that sometimes they've got that rushed internal clock and they're trying to go through their progressions a little bit too quickly. You can slow the game down for players like that. Sean said it's a lot easier to correct a player who doesn't take a lot of sacks but is getting through stuff a little bit too quickly than it is a player who takes way too many sacks because it's not coming to them fast enough. So Bo Nix, as time goes on, as he plays more games, he gets more reps, I feel like that's going to get better. But this offseason, he's going to need to take about 3 or 4 months. Every single day, he's going to need to do footwork drills. He's going to need to go work with like Jordan Palmer or some other quarterback fundamentals coach who can really help him hone in on the footwork and marrying his hips and his core to his upper body. Way too often, you see him throw with all arm, all shoulder, all upper body.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing no movement, no momentum, none of that with his core. He's got to get better with that stuff. And that's more of an off-season fix that's going to take a few months to get done. But I believe Bo Nix is mentally wired to get better in all these areas. The previous young quarterback that Denver tried to develop was not mentally wired to get better in these areas. He didn't recognize his shortcomings. Bo Nix, being the son of a coach, being somebody who holds himself to the highest standard, he recognizes that these are issues. I can guarantee you that Bo is in the lab right now trying to get this shit corrected. But at the end of the day, it's a long process that's going to take a lot longer than just 1.5 seasons.
Because it's so much better to have a quarterback that's processing too fast than one that's processing too slow, I would imagine, right? So, Gage, that was an awesome assessment. I think you're right on. And I mean, I don't look for excuses. We're just looking for explanations but this team also feels like a tired team, and their schedule, they've played a lot of games in the last few weeks. What do you think it's going to be like for Bo and some of these guys after when they're going to play one game in 23 days after they, play the Chiefs and then they have the bye week? Do you think that this can only help them? Do you think Bo might be a little bit tired? It's like when Mike's talking about the balls falling short, it really is shocking. Like previously you'd see him when he'd throw it into the ground, like he was throwing it into the ground so as to not throw an interception. And now these are ones that are just losing their zip. They're just falling straight into the dirt. Do you think they could be tired? I mean, as simple as that?
I mean, it's definitely possible because they've had all these games in a condensed period of time. I know that players talk about every single game you play, it's almost like getting into a car accident, and then you have only so many days to recover from that car accident, and then you got to do it all over again. So maybe there is an element of that to it, but I think it's more so they just got to get back to the basics in terms of mechanics and footwork and fundamentals. That's what this time period of being off is going to be able to do, is allow them to just get back to the stuff that you can't really work on because everything's so condensed during a usual football week. You've got only so many practice hours that you can take advantage of, and you're trying to cram in everything from the game plan and all of that stuff as well. So, yeah, I think that this is just a good time to really strip everything back, do some self-scouting, do some evaluating. Hey, what are we doing well? What do we need to get better at? And how can we get better at it in this short period of time?
Well, this is one of the other questions I had when it comes to Bo's footwork, when he bails the pocket early, doesn't get through his progressions all the way. At the end of last season, he had surgery on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that he may be concerned with that's kind of throwing him off? Is that he's not quite used to how the back feels now, and so he's trying to protect himself?
Maybe, but we have no way of really knowing that. The Broncos aren't going to disclose that.
Okay.
All right, so we're 8-2. We have a 2-game lead over the Chiefs. We have a 1-game lead in the division.
Yep.
We're, I believe, number 2 in the AFC as it stands today.
Behind the Patriots.
I know.
Where did that come from?
2014 all over again, baby. The Colts, the Patriots, and the Broncos.
Back.
3 teams in the AFC.
Although, and sorry to cut you off, Glenn.
Yeah.
But Landon did bring up, like, the Patriots were in last place last year. So they're playing a 4th place schedule. So that could also help explain why they're playing so well.
Oh, they have some light games coming up too.
They got
their
some
next 3,
figures on there.
All right, so we have a real chance to put the Chiefs away and get a 3-game lead on them after this weekend. I want to ask you, with all the criticism, with everything, with the break, both of you guys, walk me through the opening drive for the Broncos. What do they do? What are their first 3 plays?
Run. Just like against the Raiders. And then pass.
I'm going to go with first play is going to be an outside zone run with RJ Harvey, since he's going to probably be the starter at running back. We know that he likes to run to the outside. So set him up with maybe 1 or 2 of those to start off, and then a deep bootleg play action shot off of one of those looks. So I'm going to go with those as our first few plays.
Yeah, I think the same. I think the first one is going to be an RJ Harvey run. Do we know if we're getting Mims back?
It's looking good. I think the only reason we didn't get him back last week is they did all walkthroughs throughout the week. In order to pass through concussion protocol, you got to get 1 full practice in. I'm assuming that's going to happen tomorrow, and he's good to go.
Yeah, I also feel like these last 2 games we've missed Marvin Mims a lot more than we thought we were going to. But I do think that they try to get the ball in the playmakers' hands early. So I think you start off with RJ Harvey. Maybe you throw a short one to Mims, try to get Franklin deep, maybe try to get a 50-50 ball to Sutton. It's going to be something where they're trying to make a statement early.
Mm-hmm. Not only a statement to the fans, but also to themselves. Get Bo that confidence back that, like the crazy eye Bo against the Raiders last year. Like I like where you guys are going with this.
Well, and I do like when you look back at the Broncos games, right? Like it does seem like this team this year plays down to opponents and plays up to opponents. So we played down to the Raiders, we played down to the Giants, we played up to the Colts and up to the Chargers. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be the same thing with the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a close game. I just don't know how the offense is going to look, and that's what's terrifying me a little bit.
Right.
Yep. Will the offense pull their weight? That's question number 1 for this week. And without your best offensive player in J.K. Dobbins, you're going to have to find a new way to have success on that side of the ball. But I'd argue this is a good thing, because later on when Dobbins comes back, you're not going to have to lean on him as a crutch. You can use him as an actual weapon now.
It's going to be punt, field goal, punt. Then some Bo magic in the 4th. There we go.
Oh my gosh! When they do the graphic of the possessions, and it's punt, interception, punt,
interception, punt.
This is a team that you can't do that with, though. I was watching the Chiefs and Commanders game. And it started off
Were
pretty
you streaming
slow
it?
for the
No,
Chiefs.
just
They weren't getting much going on the offensive side of the ball. But Washington never got anything going on offense.
Mhm.
Eventually, Kansas City pulled away in the third quarter, and there was no opportunity for fourth quarter magic. I worry that's what's going to happen in this game if Denver isn't playing clean football for the first three quarters. They've got to put their foot on the gas early, and they cannot take their foot off the gas. They've got to understand what they're dealing with here. They've got to have an aggressive mindset this entire game. You cannot be passive. Go for it on fourth down. Do not settle for field goals in the red zone. You've got to be hyper aggressive if you're going to want to have a chance to beat this team.
Mike, can you pull up Landon's last comment? We cannot underestimate this point. I mean, it is unbelievable the lack of discipline for this team. I mean, they had 9 penalties in the first half last week, averaging 8 going into last week's game, and they had more than that even in the first half. I mean, for all the sacks and the great defense and whatnot, but to give these pre-snap penalties, the holds, the unnecessary calls, you can't do that, and you can't do that against a team like the Chiefs, where, granted, we're excited that we have a two-game lead on them, but they can come alive at any single point. They're not dead yet.
No, and I think my biggest question to you guys is, how do we fix that penalty problem? How does that not become a problem anymore?
I mean, it hasn't helped that they've gotten some refs that call ticky-tack penalties like Bill Vinovich. But at the end of the day, you've got to be less sloppy with your technique. You've got to have good hand placement. Can't get your heads caught in the cookie jar anywhere. You've got to be disciplined in terms of timing out when you're going to jump the snap count. All that stuff, it's just discipline, man. It's just keeping your composure, keeping your cool. You've got to do that for all 4 quarters. And if you're not disciplined, you're going to lose this game, and you're probably going to lose it in a pretty ugly fashion. So it's just cleaning up the mental mistakes.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about Sean Payton. We talked about personnel changes, play calling. We talked Bo Nix, potentially his back, which maybe. We also have drops, right? Like, one of the big things that people are upset about with the Broncos is they didn't go and make a trade for a wide receiver like Jalen Waddle to bring in. That would help with that problem. We also have, at different points in the season, poor upfront blocking and poor downfield blocking, which has allowed us to get yards after catch. Again, we just talked about the penalties. Like, it's not just one thing. There are many things that go wrong at different times, and it's just killing us. So the question is, how do we fix these things, right? Like, there has to be some way to adjust and fix it. Like, our coaches just not concentrating on certain things? Are they backing away from things? Do changes need to be made? Like, I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's firing coordinators. I don't know what it is, right? Like, you look at Bill Belichick, right? He used to adjust things all the time. He would take over defensive play calling. Dan Quinn just did, because their defense sucks. He's taken over play calling. I'm not saying that. That's all I'm saying about Dan Quinn. It's just, I'm just using him as
Dan Quinn reference.
Dan Quinn is Cam's Nebraska. You have to throw it in.
I'm just using him as an example of something was going wrong, so he is going to take over and fix it. Like, is there something that needs to change with Sean Payton or with some other coaches to fix this problem?
I mean, it's tough to say because we're not in the building. We don't know what's going on in the classroom. Are guys being taught the wrong stuff? We don't know. This is kind of like Carly Ursay-Gordon, why she's on the headset. She explained football is a complex organism, and the coach can say, like, the receiver ran the wrong route or so on and so forth, but it turns out they forgot to tag him or they tagged the wrong guy, et cetera, et cetera. It's all of that stuff that we have no way to account for. So it's hard to really say what needs to change. But I do know this. The Broncos just need to lean into what they do well. That's the thing. They need to lean into what they do well, running the football, getting Bo Nix on the move, letting him take advantage of his athleticism, make him comfortable. All of that stuff will allow for them to play more free, and we'll see less penalties as a result. So just clean that stuff up, and I think you're going to be okay moving forward. I don't know exactly what the answer is because I really don't know exactly what the problem is. I love the comment. If you want to bring up Cairo's last comment about Vele and Little Jordan Humphrey, I do think that there is a Vele-sized hole on this offense in terms of being a consistent threat for Bo over the middle of the field. We saw Bo thrive on dagger routes last year, ripping that 20-yard dagger route over the middle of the field. A lot of times, those were going to Devon Vele. Bo doesn't have that this year, and I don't think he trusts anybody else on that particular route. There's been a correlation with Bo not attacking the middle of the field and him having some of his worst games in the NFL. He needs a more consistent threat over the middle of the field. Evan Ingram was supposed to be that, but he's been a big disappointment this year. Unfortunately, Ingram's been worse than I thought he was going to be, and I was one of the biggest detractors of Evan Ingram, saying that he's probably not going to be the big joker that everybody thought. And sure enough, he is not looking that part, and he's looking even worse than I thought. So, yeah, that's a big problem as well.
I don't know. We got Mercedes Lewis now. Boom! Problem is solved at the tight end.
Yeah, speaking of penalties, yikes.
Yeah, I mean, that one just felt like a product of learning the offense, having those consecutive penalties. That hurt, but at the end of the day, Mercedes Lewis is still your best blocking tight end that you have. That's another problem, and it's another reason why I don't think Sean's leaning into the run game enough. The tight end blocking has been god-awful. Adam Troutman, every single game, has at least 5 plays that put this team behind the sticks. He's fucking horrible. He's got to be off this team next year. He cannot be back. He is a liability. Nate Atkins getting hurt was a devastating blow, an absolutely devastating blow. Lewis will help, but he's not going to be that every down blocking tight end. I really wanted Denver to go get David Njoku, Mark Andrews, a real friggin' tight end. This whole league has a problem of trying to take these glorified wide receivers like Evan Ingram and make them tight ends. They're just not tight ends. We need a real two-way tight end that can be a threat as a pass catcher and as a blocker.
What do you think Troutman's appeal to Peyton is? What do you think? Like, Peyton loves that guy. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I think he's just desperate for a joker, and Evan Ingram was the best joker-type player who was available, so Sean gassed him up and pumped him up.
No, I was talking about Troutman. Sorry.
Oh, with Adam Troutman? Oh, I have no clue. I really have no clue what the obsession there is. When Troutman came here, he was at least a halfway competent blocker, but he's gotten worse and worse as every season has gone on. And now, every single game, you get negative plays from Troutman.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Lil Jordan Humphrey last year. Like, we couldn't understand, like, why is he still on this team? So I don't know. Maybe they just pass it on to Troutman now.
You know what's crazy though? Like, with all the stuff that we're saying, and we're not being critical of the team. We're just talking about some of the things that need to be fixed. We're still 8-2.
That's right. And that's what's insane, right? I think the what we're most concerned about is, we're 8-2 and we might get first or second in the AFC West. But then what do we do when we get to the playoffs, right?
That's the thing.
Like, we're not playing scrub teams in the playoffs.
No. And that's the thing. We're just trying to get to the bottom of this so that we can continue to move forward, get to at least the second round. I mean, how great would it be to get a bye in that first round of the playoffs? That would be pretty spectacular. We've got 7 games left. Some of these games are against Washington, the Raiders. We've got Jacksonville, the Packers, who are spiraling to the point where the Athletic beat writer for the Packers is saying that Matt LaFleur is now coaching for his job the rest of the year. Like, we have really good opportunities to, I mean, just those games, you'd be 12-5. If we lost 2 to the Chiefs and 1 to the Chargers, I don't think that that's going to even happen. So like we're in really good position, but you can't, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. You got to figure out some of these issues so that they don't crop up in January, or they don't continue in January. This team really has a nice opportunity to do some serious damage this year and in the years moving forward.
Yeah. Bring up Jamin's comment about George Kittle and Tyler Warren, because yes, both of those guys very much do block. Kittle's one of the best blocking tight ends in the game right now. So yes, they do very much block.
Yeah, with all the Bo hate going around, need to ask, would be 8-2 with Stiddy, Locke, Bridgewater, any of the others we have had over the years?
No! God, no!
No.
Bo Nix's fourth quarter heroics have won us multiple games this year.
And the 2 games we lost with 0 seconds on the clock. One of them as a result of a 15-yard penalty on trying to block a kick for a guy that couldn't even hit a 50-yarder, much less a 60-something yarder. I mean, this is crazy.
Ray wants to know, why is Franklin getting force-fed the ball? Is it to get that connection going, or does Sutton piss off Sean Payton?
I don't think
it's more so Sutton's getting taken away. He's getting double-teamed. Yeah. He's the only consistent pass-catching threat that the Broncos have. So, yeah, I'd be so down to get Kittle.
Yeah.
Anywhere. San Francisco's
Niners can't afford him like we can.
I don't know, man. It's not a matter of money. I don't think Kittle would leave, but if he does, sign me up 100%. I will take Kittle here in a heartbeat. But
we could have Kufanga and Greenlaw could go kidnap him and tell him what Denver's really like.
Yeah. I don't think Sutton's in the doghouse, or they're not trying to get him going. We can talk about Sean Payton not feeding these guys, but he's not the one throwing them the ball. We've got to remember that. And if the guy's not open, you're not going to throw him the ball. So, yeah, man, I think this whole thing about Sutton and guys like Franklin and even Jaleel, all these guys being in the doghouse, it's more complicated than that. Sean Payton's not trying to self-sabotage here. He wants to win. He hates losing more than anything. Do you really think that Sean Payton is going to go out there and do something to intentionally lose a fucking game? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, we have all these.
I wish I knew what point Gage was trying to make there. No,
I know, right? Like,
you can only be more emphatic next time, please.
We have all these discussions trying to figure out what the problem is so we can fix it, because you look at the AFC West this season, like New England's got a soft schedule, Miami's not doing anything, Buffalo looks vulnerable, Jacksonville looks vulnerable. Who else we got? Cincinnati's not doing anything. Pittsburgh is not playing well. Houston's not playing well.
Baltimore's probably going to win that division. I mean, how crazy
and
is
they're
that?
not playing well either, right? Like, you look at the AFC and like it's wide open this year. So
that's why I wanted the Broncos to make a move to get better. I wanted them to make a move at the deadline, because this might be their best chance to win a Super Bowl.
Right? And depending on how this game goes against Kansas City, it could be even more wide open. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's looking at the Chiefs saying, oh, these guys are unstoppable. Well, we'll see how this game goes, because if Denver beats Kansas City, now we've got 4 games on Kansas City. We hope that the Chargers lose. That gives us 2 games on them, right? Like, that opens more things up. So it's trying to figure out what the problems are so that we can try to fix it, so that we can make a run in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's just that simple.
Do you think the picks are going to be worth the Vele trade?
I mean,
do you think they're worth it
what
now?
they get?
No, but what about now? Do you wish we had him rather than additional?
Yes.
Same.
Knowing what I know now, yes, I wish we still had Vele. And I agree with Landon here, and I don't think this is a quarterback issue. They need to get the other half of that equation now.
Well, and again, like I bring up the worst that this team has looked is in these last two games. And who did we not have in these last two games? We didn't have PS2 and we didn't have Marvin Mims. Like honestly, I think Marvin Mims plays more of a role in this offense than we think he does.
If nothing else, Marvin Mims opens stuff up underneath. Teams have to respect his speed on every single play, or they're going to get burned over the top. Marvin Mims allows for guys to be open underneath. So I think that's going to really help out.
Yeah. So let's take a look at this Kansas City game. Two division games back to back. Obviously, we do not want to have a repeat of this Raiders-Broncos game because, God, so bad. Okay, I'm done talking about that game. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Going into the Chiefs game, we finally broke the streak last year. Granted, it was against their backups, but now we have a chance to go.
We broke it the year before.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we beat the Chiefs in 2023 in Denver.
We did. Last game. Last game.
Yes. No, it wasn't the last game. It was like week 8 or something. It was with Russell Wilson. It was the game before the trade deadline. We beat them. It was like 23-9 or something like that. That was our first time beating them.
Okay, I quit. I'm leaving. All right.
You quit, I have to quit.
Right? All right.
I was agreeing with you.
So this Kansas City game, Gage, how are you going to break this? Obviously, I'm not going to ask you for a score, but how do you think this game goes?
Well, we've talked about it pretty much this whole stream, man. If Denver's offense plays well, then I think Denver has a strong chance. I cannot talk today. Jesus Christ. No, I think Denver has a really strong chance. Would you like some
high quality H2O?
Yeah, you speak about as well as I remember Broncos and Chiefs games, so it's fine.
Right. But no, if Denver's offense pulls their
you had to get the scream in there.
If Denver's offense pulls their weight, if they're able to play disciplined football, not commit penalties, I think they're going to have a really strong chance. I believe Denver's defense is going to play a really strong game in this one. Buffalo put it on tape. If you can pressure Patrick Mahomes with 4, then you can cause a lot of problems for this Chiefs offense. They don't operate well when Patrick Mahomes is under pressure. That bodes well for the Broncos, at least being able to neutralize this Chiefs team. So will the offense pull their weight, and will the special teams pull their weight? That is the big question.
You know, Dan Patrick used, when he was with SportsCenter, he used to have a catchphrase. It would say, "You can't stop them. You can only hope to contain them." And when Gage just said neutralize, it's exactly a perfect word for that. You know, our defense can do a lot. I think we have the best defense in the NFL, to be honest. And you know, we can really do a lot to slow these guys down, to stop them on a number of drives. But they are going to get their plays. They are going to get some of these plays. They are going to get some of these scores. They have the playmakers back on the offensive side for the Chiefs. It's up to the offense to really have the foot on the gas pedal, push down the entire freaking game. And these penalties, they cannot keep doing it. They cannot get these 1st and 15, 2nd and 20. You know, like we cannot have any of that stuff, or we're just gonna shoot ourselves really in the foot. This game does worry me a little bit. This is like the first game all season where I've really thought that I have to pick the other, the opponent overwhelmingly. But I think the Broncos can hold on, maybe a 23-20, mainly because they're at home, mainly because they've had this rest. I know the Chiefs have been on a bye, but I think we have a good opportunity here.
Yeah, right here. DeAndre Tillman's getting a touchdown this game.
Oh my gosh. Listen to him as blocking
He's
tight end.
Bro, I would love to put DeAndre Tillman on some packages on offense. Like, put him at running back, put him at tight end. I'd be so down.
One of the questions that I have as far as the defensive side of the ball goes, with all the wide receivers and tight ends that Kansas City has, is PS2 rushing to get back for this game, or are they going to hold him out until after the bye?
I think realistically they're going to hold him out because you've got one more crack at Kansas City after this on Christmas night. You don't want him to fully tear his pec. If he fully tears his pec, we're fucked. So I would much rather him miss this game and be back. It seems they're already pushing the timetable a little bit by not putting him on IR, having him back for this Washington game. So I don't want to play with fire any more than we already are.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stick with what I've been doing for the last, 7 games, because that's how many we've won in a row. I'm going to go Broncos over Chiefs, 24-23.
I am refraining from
I know. I was waiting for the old bald guy down at the bottom to chirp
I said 23-20 Broncos. Yeah.
23-20. All right. So we're thinking a last-second field goal on either one?
I think it's going to be like a last-second miss for Kansas City to tie the game.
Or a last-second block. Ooh, karma. Ooh.
Harrison Butker, wide right.
2017, either way, cannot tell it all.
Wide right.
All right. Anything else that we have not covered?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for
We
joining
went this whole spring without getting a booty cheeks, a bill clip. What are we doing?
Absolute booty cheeks.
I mean, you said
There we go.
We
Gotta
need to.
get
We
it
do
in
need
there
to
at
alter
least
the
once.
bill
throw that in
graphic.
the overlay.
Actually, can you put Gage's face on there after the live stream?
It's coming. I already been working on it.
Dude, you should do me as a Steelers fan if you're going to do that, because that's
No,
what you were going for in that stream.
You were streaming a Chargers game, Gage. Chargers game.
Okay.
Oh, okay. we want to thank everybody for joining us in the show today, except for Cam, because you're a bum.
Boo.
Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you.
Yeah,
guys.
thank you,
It's always
guys.
great when you guys are making your comments, giving your
I
opinion.
love it.
Makes the show that much better. Make sure you head on over to the MHRT Network on YouTube. Hit that like, subscribe, and that thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. We got shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the neighborhood on game days. Also, make sure you go check out Broncos Syndicate, hosted by Gage Madrid. Hit the like, subscribe,
Not
thumbs up.
Chargers Syndicate. We have another guy on the channel.
Yeah, listen, if you go to the YouTube, if you go to the YouTube search bar and type in Charger Syndicate, it comes up to the Broncos page.
Shout out to my guy Jake over at Charger Syndicate.
Oh my god.
They switch on and off. That's what happened. But yeah, make sure you head on over to Broncos Syndicate, hosted by Gage Madrid. All the Broncos news you would ever want or ever need is over there on that channel. So make sure you check that out. Again, we greatly appreciate every single one of you. We love the Broncos. We love Broncos country. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Fast lane when I pass in the street. Bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down 'cause the coast